Today I'm going to work on this tractor. This is my wife's tractor. She uses this for moving earth. It's our little mini bulldozer. The ignition switch on this from the factory is wired direct to the starter, so the battery, the positive lead from the battery connects directly to the ignition switch, and then from the ignition switch it goes right to the starter. There's no solenoid involved on this. Well, what ends up happening in time is the ignition switch will start to melt inside and it will no longer turn to the start position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that out of there and I am going to modify it. I have this little contraption that I've made up. Can you see all of that? This is to replace that bad ignition switch. It's a conventional switch that just has the low power wires. I'm sorry, low amperage wires. Same power. But the starter lead and the battery lead connect to the solenoid. So this will eliminate the melting of the ignition switch. Alright, I'm going to pull the tractor all apart and get this contraption that I made put inside of there. Wish me luck. Let's get the battery out of there, then I can actually see in there. Put that in a safe place. Ooh-wee, what a mess in there. Take the nut off of the ignition switch and pull that right out of there. Maybe. What else do we have going on in here? We have a mess. That ground wire. There it goes. That was a tight one. Scratched your paint a little. Good thing the hood covers that when the hood's closed. I don't have any room to put my hand behind the drill. Let's put it together first. Can't see very well in there. Still can't see very well. Ow! Crushed my finger. So the replacement starter is in there. See it? The yellow part. I was a little worried because the bracket is different on that starter than... I gotta be paged on the radio over there. That starter had a 3-bolt bracket, and it's a sheet metal style bracket. This one has a cast bracket, but it's only 2 bolts. But it did fit. I also dug around and found a better battery cable. This is the battery cable that was on there. This is the end that was connected at the starter. So I put a better, heavier cable on. I still got to route it up to the dash. I did have to open the hole a little because it wouldn't fit over the bolts for either one, the starter or the solenoid in there. Alright, I'm going to sort out some of this wiring and see if I can get this together. So I have everything replaced. It's all put back together. The wiring is all in there. We can't really see in there very well, but the key switch works. You can see it bumps the starter. Problem now, well, actually, let's go back to the beginning. That's the starter that was on this. It was turning the engine over really slow. And turning it over slow ended up burning out the ignition switch. So, as I already told you and showed you, I upgraded the ignition setup, the starting setup, to use a solenoid. Well, I also changed out the starter. I've had problems with that style starter in the past, so I went with a different style this time. Problem is, it still turns over slow. The compression release is not working in the engine. So even with all the new wiring and the new starter, listen. To top it off, on top of that, the carburetor is not sending any fuel. The only way I can get this to start is by putting some starting fluid or carb cleaner directly into the cylinder. It will not send any gas in. So, I have a lot more work to do on this one. I'm hoping to, well, I am going to get the carburetor issue resolved so that I can at least get this thing running. Once it's running, I'm going to drain the crankcase and put in some Marvel Mystery Oil, and hopefully that will free up the compression release on the engine. Because I've been in this engine before. I put new valves and tappets in this one. I don't want to have to take the cam out of it now. I guess the next thing to do will be to add a new carburetor to the list. I'm not even going to bother to try to fix that carburetor. I bought that carburetor about 9 years ago, and I think it was only about $16. So I'm just going to order another one and at least get it up and running. So like I said, so I can drain that crankcase and run it for a while with Marvel Mystery Oil in it, and hopefully that mechanism will free up on the compression release. That way I don't have to go back inside. Alright, I'll keep you posted. That's it for now. I'm done with this one for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.